Yes. Ha. Okay. Hello.
Ha.
This is looking promising. I might be talking to myself, but humble beginnings. Let's just have at it. So hello, I'm the useful idiot. This is my emotional support handler, Charlie.
Yes.
Ha. Okay. Hello.
Ha.
Got the stage right. This is looking promising. Yeah. So I had free time and a lot of useful information. So I thought I would be a useful idiot. Crypto. I know, love it or hate it. I have mixed feelings on it myself. I I think inevitably it's going to become a prominent thing, at least for a brief period. I actually don't think in the long run it's going to end up being a thing, but right now there's money to be had when times are lean. So, yeah, I've been into crypto since 2016. I have helped make friends and family who, let's face it, are probably the only ones watching this show for now. But yeah, yeah, I've helped them make a fair bit of money. So, with that in mind, I was sort of encouraged to make a little quick video. I'll try and keep it short on how to make, how to dip your toe into cryptocurrency, which is kind of what I always recommend. Just like getting to know things first. Lose fast, lose small. So, take 20 bucks and go dip your toe in stuff and make some money or lose some money. Back in the day when I was just getting started, I turned 250 bucks Australian into 6 grand US. So that I think measures out that you can still make some money, and at the same time, what's more important is the education. You can't put a price on education. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to lose money. That's good because you're learning. Some people are analytically minded. I'm one of them, I would say. Charlie's more of a talker. But I am someone who's analytically minded, and if you tend to be analytically minded, you're probably going to do very well in crypto. So I would recommend it if you're looking to make a quick buck, because it's there to be had. It is. You can be silly and lose a lot of money, but you can also be smart and make a bit. So yeah, with that in mind, I am going to just quickly make sure I am still talking to my audience. I am. Oh, and I've got the page open. Whoops, wrong one. I wanted to do a nice big. There we go. Hi, my puppy, me. God, I'm dumpster firing this one. But anyways, yeah. So I got a little card here. There we go. So basics. This isn't financial advice. Got to say that, legal disclaimer. But it's useful information, and I'm a useful idiot. So yeah. Yeah. So I thought I'd start by where you would be starting, which is onboarding. By onboarding, I mean turning your fiat into cryptocurrency. If you're in America, it's pretty easy for you. Basically, grab your credit card and go ham. Just make sure you keep records because tax man cometh. Yeah, I recommend for people who are in Australia to use CoinSpot. I use CoinSpot as my onboarding. It's a little trickier for Australians. For people who don't use USD as a base currency, you'll usually find if you go to use your credit card on like a major site like Binance or something, if it's not an American-based credit card or key card, they're gonna just be like, we don't know what this card is. Sorry, can't take your money. So you kind of get locked out of the market a bit. So you got to find someone to onboard it. So for an Australian, I recommend CoinSpot to everyone. I use it. I like it. It's just easy. Prices are acceptable, and it's well established. So I have confidence in them. I left affiliate links if you want to use them. If not, I don't really give a shit. But also money's nice. Yeah. What's the other one? Europeans. It's a different story for the Europeans. Now, I haven't used this because I haven't been in Europe for like over 10 years, but I have some European history, and I have a deep respect for Europeans who are in a bit of a plight right now with everything going on in the world. Swissborg, decentralized system. Fuck them. Try and find ways stop the bullshit, or move to Switzerland where cryptocurrency isn't taxed, and they're very encouraging of it. You want to hop down, Charlie? You can hop down if you want. And he's out of there. So, yeah. So Swissborg, I've heard very good things for. Even though I haven't used it, I'd probably vouch for it because the people that I respect in the industry who are well established as well all vouch for it, who are European based. So I'd say that's a great place to start your onboarding as well, where you can get your dwindling in value fiat currency quick smart onto an appreciating currency like Bitcoin, which isn't officially a currency yet, but I mean, let's call a spade a spade. They're clearly prepping it up to be the replacement to the USD. Yeah, like it'll be the West's version of like whatever BRICS central backed currency is, at least for a time. The thing about Bitcoin is it's susceptible to quantum computing systems, in that its fashion of encryption is something that won't date well over time. Oh god, he's got the squeaky toy. Let's see, this is the dangers of live streams. All right, so he's comic relief now. So there's only one cryptocurrency that I'm aware of that has quantum encryption, sort of like quantum resistant encryption, quantum computing resistant encryption, and that is Cardano, ADA, the one that recently had a big rally. They were actually the guys that made a good chunk of money on. I bought it when it was worth 2 cents. Clearly, they've got their head on straight. I like to refer to them as like the sort of the Apple to IBM. Like IBM rose first, Apple was in the shadows for a long time, but then they turned into something massive, and I think that's what Cardano will be. And I think it's modeled that way too. I think that was the intention from the get-go. I've always said this. I've maintained this since 2016. So, just to say, I know what I'm talking about. Right. So, I digress. Back to the details. So, when you're looking to find out which crypto's what, you'll probably hear someone on YouTube talking about it, and you'll be like, oh, I want to check it out. The go-to place to hunt down where a cryptocurrency is, if you don't already know, is websites like CoinMarketCap or CoinGecko, which I will put up on the screen now. Excuse me, I just realized I'm on the main screen still. Fuck. Sorry, guys. And I am sweary. I'm very Australian, fair warning. I swear a lot. Right. Here we are. So, yes. So this is CoinSpot. I'm just going to do a quick loop-de-loop. Sorry, guys. This is my first attempt. I will get better at this. Next video will be much smoother around the edges. So yes, this is CoinSpot. Recommend them. Links below the video. Check it out. And this is Swissborg. Again, link below the video. If you're a European, I recommend checking that one out as like a place to start, to get started. Charlie. Right, so yeah, here we are at CoinMarketCap, which is one of two that I like to use. If I can't find it on one, I'll definitely find it on the other, but usually you'll find it on CoinMarketCap. But there's also CoinGecko. Very similar, very easy to navigate, samey stuff. So this will be where you can track it down. I'll just give you an example. So nice, easy one. Let's don't encourage Dogecoin. That shit makes me angry. Oh, say Dogecoin, right? You need to figure out where to buy it. You want to get some. I would not recommend it at the moment unless Elon's planning on integrating it into X, which I highly doubt. I would imagine he would use his own, he'd start his own currency, which I would anticipate he will do at some point. But that's another thing. If that happens, man, get in early and you'll probably make a bucket. What you're seeing here is the list of all the different markets that it's available on, and a quick snapshot of the day's movements. So you can change the amount of time. There are. Before going into too much detail about the charts, I'll show you where you can go to learn about charts. But rest assured, it's not as bamboozling as they make it sound, and it's not as tricky as it seems at first. But yeah, you can see here the crazy amount of movement. Like, now is not a good time to be buying. It's just a lot. But yeah, no, and I'll do another video where I'll do a deep dive on like the mechanics of cryptocurrencies and how to actually get a frame of reference on what the value is on these. Basically, you've got the market cap, and you've got the total supply, and then you've got the current value, and those three things interact in certain ways to basically give you the idea of how much it's actually worth. Because how can I put this? You know what? It's for another video. That'll take too long. But yeah. So basically, here's where you know where to go buy it. You can get it on Binance. These are all different markets where you can sign up and then buy things. KuCoin's okay. They're a bit restrictive. BitGet used to be liberal, but they've had the noose tighten with it's called Know Your KYI, Know Your Investment or something. I don't know. Anyways, the point being, it's basically regulation so that they can track you and know where everything is. For all the talk of decentralization, the bulk of cryptocurrencies is regulated, but rest assured, there are places like the Cayman Islands, where your money can disappear because they need to, because they're all dirty rats, and a beast has a left and a right wing, and it has an underbelly, and they support all of that. So there'll be those ways, but they'll never say there is, and that's how it is. Anyways, moving on. I don't recommend Dogecoin, so I'm just going to quickly get rid of that. I do, however, recommend Power Ledger. That's another thing, but I'll talk about that later. I think it's going places. The Australian government invested in it. Richard Branson invested in it. It's purely speculation, a touch of opinion, but I think that he's probably a more sanitary version of like Epstein for the Commonwealth. So I'd say if he's investing, then it's probably got some agenda, and it's worth the investment now while it's small. And it is quite small. The market cap, which is basically the valuation, is sitting at, the market value is sitting at 196 million. I could easily see this thing moving to 100, in the tens to hundreds of billions, eventually to trillions. I know a little bit about it in the background, but again, I'll do a deep dive later down the road. But I think that's a solid investment, that one. It's got pretty good exposure, lots of places for people to be able to go get it. U2, it's available on CoinSpot. CoinSpot have a pretty good collection of altcoins for the Australian audience. If you're American, you pretty much get to pick anything. Any market's gonna get you pretty good access because you could just onboard directly. So like, I would go to like Bybit, or I don't know if you can in America, Bybit, but I just like the way their system integrates. I like the way that their graphing and mapping works out for the charting and stuff, and so I find it the most smooth and easy to use, but it is a little hexy, fair warning. But I've worked on BitGet, Femex. There are other two ones that have a good selection. Bybit has more, but you can just basic buy. It's called spot buying, so you can just buy the basics. Again, like, I'll be using terminology that you will get very used to very quickly because it's thrown around all the time. But if you're not sure about something, just go to Investopedia. Again, I left a link there in the resources below. The Investopedia is a website that basically is the Wikipedia of investment. So if there's a question you have on a word, you don't know what it is, just type the word in, like rule of 72. This might be a bad example, but let's see. Yeah, there you go. And there's a bunch of stuff detailing it. You can get a lowdown on what stuff is. I recommend looking into that because it's relating to compound interest and how to get out of wage slavery and poverty. If anyone else is sick of being made indentured slave, there are options. They just keep them well hidden and they make them very hard to achieve, but they're not impossible. And honestly, I believe that the only way out of wage slavery is through investment. It's an opinion. I have a lot of them. They're right though, a lot of the time. Holy! So yeah, social media icons are a great place to go to just get the lowdown and get started and get your bearings on where you want to be looking. I started with these three guys. I really recommend them because they have great courses and guides. Like, I'm a bit mushy on what to explain, but I'm giving you the roots to like where you can find your way. They have great videos already set up, playlists to sort of walk you through doing everything, from margin trading to you name it. They've got some really good sort of walkthroughs on that. So I would recommend going in there, poking around their videos, and starting that way as a little reservoir of information and knowledge to glean from to try and get your bearings. So yeah, Elliott Trades, Crypto Zombie, they have different focuses. I found them to be good in different ways to help sort of triangulate your trading style. Data Dash is very level-headed. He's sort of he's the sound investor for people who are there with a big wad of capital, ready to make a bit of money, and they kind of want to take a really sober approach. He'll tell you how to do that. You know what I mean? He'll always walk you away from margin trading. He'll always say, don't be risky, be smart. But some people have $20 and they have to try and turn it into something. So for them, you want to go with something like Elliott Trade, which is he's a very smart dude, but he understands trends really well. He picked up on like some of the greater market trends before they became a greater market trend, like NFTs and things like that. So he has his finger on the pulse in that respect. He always has. So I like to go to him for the new and upcoming things. Not necessarily small caps, sometimes small caps. That's a whole other thing. Caps, by the way, I'll walk you through that. There's small caps, medium caps, and large caps, which basically just means a company that ain't worth spit yet, a company that's worth a bit of spit, and then a company that's worth a big fucking Lugia spit. So an example would be XRD as a small cap. I really like these guys. Oh, actually, teetering on a medium cap now, 350 million. But basically anything under 20 million would be an easier small cap, but it could go up to like 80 million and still technically be a small cap. But you have to understand in terms of compounding profits, if it's worth $20 million and eventually becomes worth $10 billion, which all the $10 billion companies out there have at some point been $20 million companies. So, well, most of them. So, you know, you can catch them early, you get on there early, and you get off when they've established themselves as a high cap if you want, or you can just hold on to it and keep it as a very strong asset to have in your portfolio. Like all the Bitcoin hodlers from of old. I wish I knew about it earlier, because it's the sort of thing that if I knew it, if it had just hit my ears back in like its conception, I would have totally invested in it, because it's the sort of thing that's right up my alley. So yeah, a bit sore that it never reached my ears, but that's life. Wasn't meant to be. And we're still early. We are early. Like I do think it's being prepped to be a USD replacement. And when you crunch the numbers on that, we're talking tens of trillions to hundreds of trillions of dollars. The markets, traditional markets, are a disgusting, messy hive of just ridiculous amounts of money. And these things, when they start channeling in, because I think this is a controlled demolition, you know, people weren't, you know, the newer generations weren't investing in traditional markets. They're disaffected. They're going to let it die with the older generations, and so they're sort of transitioning it out. It's a controlled demolition, I always say. So I think we're witnessing the rise of probably a sort of a living wage, where you sort of have to still pay a little attention with cryptocurrencies, and there might even be an actual living wage on top of that too. So it's sort of rewarded for using your brain. You got to keep the stock alive. I'm resentful because I feel like we're being farmed these days rather than being governed, and I think that's related to corporations taking over. But that again is a video for another day that I'm working on. It's an attempt at a corporate takeover, corporatocracy takeover, which I don't think will succeed, but I do think they're very much committed to at this point. Standpoint, I think he has a point. I think this might be set up to do quite well, although I know nothing about it. It's barely moved. It had a whimper there, but it's still sort of got these little hiccups during really dry times in the market, until when it started picking up. Like there was interest. So purely speculative on this one, but I suspect this one might be a wild card. So I'm just keeping an eye on it. I might drop a little bit on it, but at the moment I'm running along in anticipation of Power Ledger going well, and you can see already it's getting ready to do quite well. This is nothing though. I'm anticipating it to go much higher than that. I've got a 16.16x trade on it, so I'm expecting it to go. Sorry, quick refresh on that one. I'm expecting it to go much higher. If you look at its all-time highs, let me just switch to a monthly chart. If you look at its all-time high, lagging out my internet. Hope this is running smoothly, guys. All-time high was $1.22 back in,
Give me a time. Oops. So, sorry, I'm just sort of maxing out my internet. I hail from a little dusty town called Canberra, and for some reason their internet is still incompetently terrible. Australian infrastructure is a freaking joke. Anyways, $1.20. So, I mean, if you do the math on that one, if we just touch the all-time highs again, which I anticipated to go much higher than that in the long run, so I'm just sort of leaving this one up. Oops, wrong button. Then I suspect I could come out with quite a lot of money. So I'm just putting in a small amount of money, but I'm taking very high risk. But I picked the entrance point very carefully, considering the times and the market. So it looks simple, but there's so much consideration that needs to go into it before you actually commit to it, because you can really screw yourself over. Like, you can know a thing, but if you don't know the timing of it, then you're probably not going to make money. So, like, you're probably going to just lose your money. It'll probably just eat your money, because you'll jump in just as a big dip happens or something. They call it getting spiked out. It happens a lot. It still happens to me. Like, it's a measured risk. It's a little like gambling. Like, if you look at the stats on like lottery tickets, don't buy like 25 different games of the one game. Just if you're going to do it, just buy like a 4 game. Like, buy whatever the minimum is, because that's where your best statistical chance is for winning. The rest is just sort of really kind of selling yourself short statistically. Yeah, so there you go. $1.5 grand out of $20 if I'm right, US. So yeah, so I'm just leaving that to in play. I put no cap on it at the top, because we'll see what this rally happens. Because we had the pullback from 100K, I anticipate that we're going to go well past 100K. This is a healthy cool-off period, and I think we're just getting ready for that run-up now. It might be one of these Christmas adventures where all the rich people decide they want to get Christmas presents for everyone else that's in crypto, and that might happen again this year, and especially considering the times with Trump in presidency. There's a lot of politics involved now, which is where I excel. So I anticipate hopefully making some money in this rally, this bull market, which I think, realistically, I think we're going to at least 120K. Sky's the limit. I mean, to the extreme, we could go 250, 200,000 Bitcoin value. But depending on how that all plays out, depends on how sharp the movements will be backwards and forwards. And plus, we've got World War III in play, and who the hell knows? This could literally be war insurance. Like, these could be the war bonds of whatever is coming to fruition in the political world. Again, that's a whole other thing. But anyways, I haven't really kept much to my list here, but offboarding is usually where you onboard. So if you have a means to get into the currency, you can usually get out. Just make sure you've done all your verifications that you need to. I'm currently sort of locked in about it because I changed email addresses, and it's still got an old email address, and so I'm trying to get that changed with Bybit, and I've got a chunk of money in there that I could put to use, but it just has to sit there because I haven't got the verification cleared, and they're sorry Bybit, but you've made it a fucking nightmare for me, so I'm going to spin on you a bit here. I'm still waiting. Yeah, so you can screw yourself over with verifications. I recommend not messing with that. Trading, it's like small business. You're going to make money. They're going to want to cut, and depending where you live, the cut's going to be bigger or smaller. But don't mess with the guys that have institutionalized violence at play. They might be gangsters, but they're the well-established gangsters, and they got the guns. So, jump through the hoops. Be good or be good at it. Decentralization and Web3 is a thing. People often use it to remain anonymous for whatever reason online when trading. So there is that. It's a thing. But that's not my thing to do. I hail from the 90s era of sort of cypherpunks and anarchy rising. I kind of consider myself one of the few, but there are a few, and they're well established anarcho-Catholics out there in history's past and present. I think it has its place. There are rules, but there are no rulers. I think that's important because of corruption. So I do like the decentralized concept, the trustless systems, but depending on how you lay out the rules, you can either be prey or predator as well, and there are those people at play, like my opinion, again, XRP is the rats off the sinking ship of the traditional banking system. I won't touch it with a 10-foot pole for moral reasons alone. I think, understandably, I have a very strong opinion about that, but that's me. Everyone got to do their own thing. Also, way overheated at the moment, just my opinion. I would take a step back if I was considering investing in XRP right now. I think that's very silly. Yes. Don't know if anyone's actually in here, but if anyone has any questions, feel free to hit me up in the chat box. I have pretty extensive knowledge at this point. Yeah, or in the comments as well if you're seeing this after the recording. I'll make a point to try and answer your questions. Yeah, I'm a useful idiot. I know a lot of crap. Put me to use. I like to be useful. So yeah, what's the last thing? I already told you a little bit about where I think everything's going. I think it's a USD replacement. Cashing out, just one thing that's worth saying, once you've cashed it out, usually that's when the capital gains stuff kicks in. So just be mindful that there's a cut that the government's going to want of it, so don't get excited that you made thousands of dollars and then blow it all on a Lamborghini and then realize the taxman wants half your Lamborghini and it's depreciating asset, so you can't fucking sell it and get your money back to pay your tax and you go to prison. Don't do that. It's not good for you. Yeah. Anyways, barriers to entry. What did I mean when I said that? Oh yeah, a lot of people think that they have to invest like at least a minimum of $1,000. Cryptocurrency is not at all like that. Like pretty much every platform, they have a minimum, but it's like $20 or $10. Some don't even. CoinSpot, I don't think even has a minimum. You can onboard $2 and put $2 on something tiny, thinking it's going to have a big rally, and if you're right, you'll make some money. So you know, there's you doing you, and I really recommend starting that way. Work with percentages, not with like large sums. Like you're looking at making a percentage profit. Start with small sums. You know, drop $5 on something. See if you were right. You know, make the mistake. You know, try to transfer a cryptocurrency like $5 of cryptocurrency somewhere and see if it blows up in your face or not. If you send it to the wrong address, you lose $5, but you don't lose $5,000 that you made trying to transfer it somewhere important. So, you know, make the small mistakes first. Very, very important. There is one more thing, how to store your cryptocurrencies once you get them. Hailing to an anarcho-capitalistic history, I prefer sovereign tendership of your currencies or your assets. I think in Australia it's technically an asset for now. Well, I think some are actually security technically, but anyways, that's not important. The point is taking them, putting them somewhere safe. I recommend using a ledger. Ledger Nano is simple, pretty cost effective. When you get to a point where $100 Australian isn't a big deal for having a safe place to put your cryptocurrency, then I recommend buying one because that's sensible. You know, a company goes bankrupt and there's only certain kind of liabilities to your cryptocurrency being returned to you. So there's the old adage that's kicked around in cryptocurrency, not your keys, not your crypto. If it's sitting on an exchange, probably won't, but it's a trust-based thing. Like that company collapses, your money's gone. Then there's a long legal battle and you might get some of it back later down the line if you're lucky enough to get that email when they finally figure it out and settle it in court, and it'll usually be fractions of what you actually had. It's happened to me with 2 different exchanges in the past. Can't even remember the names of the companies anymore, but there were small losses because I like to keep my stuff tucked away in my own accounts. Yeah, there's no too big to fail anymore. So yeah, margin trading, if you're crazy enough to dabble in it, like I said, same thing, dabble small and lose small and lose frequently, and you will learn. Like, it's a very intensive way to learn because there's a lot of analytical skills at play, sort of learning to read the market and understanding signals, buy signals, sell signals, and all sorts of unusual things, and it's fun if you're into that sort of thing. I love it. It's just a hobby. I just enjoy doing it. I find it really, really fun. I have a tendency to go to the most extreme trading. I believe they call it degenerate trading, and yeah, it is because I get bored. But I do it with tiny amounts of money, so it doesn't matter. Like this is a 20 USD gambit, and it's already sitting at a almost 2.5x profit. It was a little bit more earlier, but like I said, there's a long-term play, so I'm just leaving it open for now. You could, and most people recommend sort of every time you hit 100% profit, where it's sort of doubled in value, take it and then just position yourself again. But I find with these really extreme risk ones, that's not really smart, because then you tend to sort of lose a bit. Like it's very hard to position in perfectly. So if you get that perfect position and it does have that rally up and it's not likely to crash back down and go past where you got in, and you know it's got a lot more to go, then just step back, play the long game, be patient, and make a ton of money. I have a very sad story about the COVID crash. I expected it. I called it early and got ready, and I put, I think it was $50 US in it, and at one point it was sitting at 2,500 US dollars profit, and I was like, that's a good day, and I was really happy. I woke up to the news. I was like, I'm gonna go upstairs. I'm gonna make myself a bagel as a treat, and I came back downstairs, and I'd already been spiked out. So don't get greedy either. Take your profit. That was a hard day. That was a very expensive bagel. So yeah, I'm not seeing any questions in the live stream, so I guess unless something's going wrong, bear with me. I'll just do a quick little poke around, make sure I'm not missing any critical information here. Sorry, I'm still getting used to the systems as well, guys, so bear with me. My channel. Yeah, so yeah, there's lots of money to be had, and if you're like a lot of millennials, I am on the cusp of millennial, and I have to say, like, I get the disaffection. Like, we're definitely getting short end of a stick here. I think we're actually being bred for war. I think that's the whole point. We're going to be herded in to a meat grinder. And you see the videos, movies like, oh, is that movie with the hummingbird guys? They're all being hunted in the woods and crap, and it's like there's these elite guys, and it's a game show basically, and everyone's getting hunted. I could realistically see them setting something up like that. I've rubbed shoulders with some elite back when I was younger in my 20s, and these were, dynasty money level people, and I was just curious. I knew that like my 20s was an age to learn, really get my bearings on what's really going on, and I just absorbed as much as I could from these people. And yeah, they some of them are that nasty. It's like any batch of anything. You got a median and a mean where people are fairly normal for the environment they're cultured in. They're still extremely different because they live in an entirely different universe, and it has negatives to them as well, because they end up very socially isolated, and we're social creatures. There's a poverty to that, and they don't necessarily realize it because they're looking at a metric of materialism, wealth, but really they're incredibly poor individuals, and it shows in their stunted personal growth and things like that. Not to make any enemies, but just to say there's such thing as a life balance, guys. But I think there's mechanisms in place to bring counterbalances to that soon, and I look forward to that cord getting pulled, because I think it's just better for everyone. Guys at the top, guys at the top, and guys at the bottom. I'm not communistic, not at all. I'm like more anarcho-capitalistic, but like I agree that things can get to toxic levels. It's like vitamins. You take too many vitamins, they become a poison. They will kill you, and you'll have all sorts of unhealthy health effects. And I think it's the same thing for wealth, and same thing socializing even. And everyone's different, but it's a very real thing. And I think a lot of our woes today are a result of that disequilibrium and a lack of recognition of that. But anyways, I digress. Here's hoping this video actually worked, and I haven't just been talking to myself the whole time. And everyone's different, but it's a very real thing. And I think a
But
lot
anyways,
of our woes
yeah, so that's,
are a result of that disequilibrium and a lack
That's
of
me. I think
recognition of
I've
that.
gone on way longer than I meant to. So
But anyways,
I'm gonna just stop.
I digress.
All
Here's
the best.
hoping this
I had
video
a catchy
actually
phrase.
works.
Here we
and I
go.
haven't just been talking to
Live
myself
young,
the whole
die
time.
free.
And everyone's different, but
See you in the next
there is
one.
a very